For most people, a paycheck feels like progress. It arrives on schedule. It confirms that you're moving forward, doing your part, staying productive. And yet, month after month, nothing really changes. The number on the paycheck may rise slowly over time, but the feeling underneath stays the same, a constant sense of running, without actually getting anywhere. This is the salary loop, and it's far more common than most people realize. At first, the paycheck solves problems. It pays rent, covers food, handles bills, it brings relief. But over time, that relief turns into routine. The paycheck stops being a tool for change and becomes a tool for maintenance. Its primary job is no longer to move your life forward. It's to keep everything exactly as it is. What makes this loop so powerful is that it doesn't feel like a trap. There's no single bad decision, no dramatic mistake. Just a steady rhythm. Earn, spend, reset. Each paycheck clears the past month and immediately commits itself to the next one. Before you have time to think strategically, the money already has assignments. This is why raises often feel disappointing. On paper, you're earning more. In reality, the extra money disappears almost instantly. Not because you're careless, but because your financial structure absorbs it. Higher rent, higher standards, higher expectations. The loop simply scales up, keeping you in the same relative position. The paycheck gives the illusion of control while quietly limiting your options. You feel secure enough not to panic, but constrained enough not to change. It's a comfortable loop, and that comfort is exactly what keeps it intact. Most people don't realize they're in it because nothing is technically wrong. Bills are paid. Life continues. But progress never compounds. Every month starts from zero again, no matter how long you've been working. And that's the uncomfortable truth. A paycheck by itself is designed to sustain present, not transform your future. The reason this loop is so hard to escape isn't a lack of income or effort. It's timing and structure. A paycheck arrives after the work is already done, and by the time it hits your account, most of it is already claimed. Rent, utilities, debt, subscriptions, obligations. The money doesn't pause to ask what you want it to do. It executes a plan that was written long ago. This creates a subtle but powerful imbalance. Your income is flexible, but your expenses are not. Every month, your paycheck enters a system that prioritizes survival and comfort over progress. And because those priorities are legitimate, they rarely get questioned. The loop doesn't feel irresponsible. It feels adult. Over time, this trains your behavior. You begin planning your life around the next paycheck instead of around long-term direction. Decisions become short-term by default. You optimize for making it through the month, not for changing what the next 5 years look like. Even saving, when it happens, is often framed as something temporary or defensive, not transformative. This is also why discipline alone doesn't break the cycle. You can budget perfectly and still feel stuck. You can earn more and still reset to zero emotionally every month. The loop isn't caused by bad habits. It's caused by a system where income arrives after commitments, not before choices. What makes this especially deceptive is that the loop rewards consistency. Show up, get paid, repeat. There's comfort in knowing what comes next, and because the system works well enough to keep life stable, there's little pressure to redesign it. Stability becomes the signal to continue, even when growth has stalled. Eventually, the paycheck stops feeling like progress and starts feeling like permission to maintain the same life for another month. And without a deliberate interruption to that pattern, the loop continues indefinitely, regardless of how capable or hardworking you are. This is where most people place their hope. The next raise, the next promotion, the next job change. It feels logical. If the paycheck is the problem, a bigger paycheck should be the solution. But in practice, earning more often reinforces the same loop instead of breaking it. When income increases inside the same structure, the loop simply stretches to fit it. Expenses adjust upward, sometimes immediately, sometimes quietly over time. A slightly better apartment, a newer car, more convenience, more comfort. None of these choices feel reckless. They feel earned. And because they improve quality of life, they're rarely questioned. What's actually happening is that the paycheck is still being assigned the same role: maintenance. The extra money doesn't create leverage. It creates a higher baseline. You're still trading time for money, and that money is still disappearing on a monthly schedule. The loop remains intact, just at a more expensive level. This is why people with very different incomes can feel the same financial pressure. The loop doesn't care how much you make. It cares how much flexibility you have after fixed commitments. Without flexibility, higher income just means higher stakes. There's also a psychological effect at play. Raises create relief, not momentum. They reduce stress, which feels like progress, but relief fades quickly. Once it becomes the new normal, the underlying pattern returns. You're still dependent on the next paycheck to keep everything running. Over time, this creates a frustrating contradiction. You're advancing professionally, but not financially in a meaningful way. Years of experience stack up, yet your financial life still resets every month. The effort is real, but the compounding never shows up. This is the moment when many people conclude that the system is broken, or that they personally missed something. In reality, they did exactly what the system is designed to reward: consistent work in exchange for consistent pay. The problem is that consistency alone doesn't create escape velocity. And as long as income growth happens inside the same monthly structure, the paycheck remains a loop, not a ladder. Breaking the salary loop doesn't start with earning more. It starts with changing what your paycheck is allowed to do. As long as every dollar arrives with pre-assigned obligations, the loop stays intact. Disruption only happens when part of your income is deliberately removed from the monthly cycle. This is where things start to feel uncomfortable, because the moment you redirect money before it gets absorbed by bills, lifestyle, and convenience, you introduce friction into a system that was designed to run smoothly. The loop resists change not with pain, but with inconvenience. Less flexibility in the short term, fewer options that feel easy, more intentional decisions. This is also why most people avoid doing it. The salary loop feels safe because it's predictable. Interrupting it feels risky because it requires acting before certainty. You're choosing future leverage over present comfort. And that goes against how paychecks train us to think. What actually breaks the loop is not deprivation, but priority reversal. Instead of paying yourself with what's left, you force the paycheck to serve long-term goals first. Savings, investing, skill building, or asset creation happen automatically, not emotionally, not, when possible, but structurally. At first, the results don't look impressive. The amounts feel small, the progress feels slow, but this time, something crucial is different. The money you redirect doesn't reset every month. It accumulates, it compounds. It creates separation between effort and survival. This is when the paycheck starts to lose its psychological power. You still earn it. You still need it. But you're no longer completely dependent on it to keep everything running. The loop weakens, not because you escaped work, but because work is no longer the sole engine of progress. When the salary loop finally starts to break, the change isn't dramatic. There's no sudden freedom or overnight transformation. What changes first is how time feels. You're no longer counting down to the next paycheck with the same intensity, because part of your progress no longer depends on it. This is the stage where effort begins to compound instead of reset. The work you do today still matters, but it's no longer the only thing keeping your financial life afloat. Momentum starts to exist outside of your job, and that quiet shift creates a sense of stability that a paycheck alone never could. Decisions become calmer. You're less reactive. Unexpected expenses are inconveniences instead of threats. Opportunities feel possible rather than reckless. You begin thinking in longer horizons because your financial system finally supports it. What's important to understand is that the paycheck never stops being useful. It just stops being the center of everything. It becomes one input among many, instead of the single pillar holding your life up. And once that happens, the pressure eases in a way that earning more money alone rarely achieves. The salary loop keeps people busy, productive, and exhausted. Breaking it doesn't mean rejecting work. It means designing a structure where work builds something that lasts beyond the month it's paid for. That's the real escape. Not quitting your job, not chasing shortcuts, but shifting from a system where money only maintains your present to one where it quietly builds your future, even when you're not watching.